So the Blue Jays, of course, have added Dylan Cease and Cody Ponce. Bichette, though, their big free agent. Let's talk about that. For more on Toronto, we welcome in MLB.com's Keegan Matheson. Keegan, thank you so much for joining us, my friend. What did the Blue Jays like about Cody Ponce, and is he going to be a starter for them?
Yeah, this is an upside play, and I really like it for the Blue Jays. Now, they already have more than enough starting depth. They have a great rotation and a very deep one, but this is an upside play, a really interesting one in Toronto that I think will be a starting pitcher early on. Now, the boring answer is that this will probably take care of itself eventually. Injuries happen, poor performance happens. The more exciting answer is that it does put the Blue Jays in a position of strength on the trade market. There are going to be many teams out there looking for starting pitching. I don't think this happens tomorrow. It's not a video game, but by the end of the winter meetings, by the end of December, there will be someone out there who has missed their seat in this game of musical chairs trying to get a starter. The Blue Jays will have an excess. They'll get some phone calls, but it's good to have this strength regardless.
Yeah, who is that guy in your opinion?
At this point in the market, it's going to be busy. And I think when you look at this rotation right now, Jose Berrios feels like not the odd man out. I respect him too much as a pitcher to say that, but at least the one I'm most curious about. Berrios does have that player opt-out after this coming season and 2 years beyond that. The first time he was ever on the IL in 10 seasons was at the end of this past year,
Wow.
and he was bumped out of the rotation. Really hard for a pitcher who's prided himself on that. Hope it works out for Jose in Toronto still, but he is one that I'm awfully curious about to see these next few weeks.
Jose, the Iron Man Berrios. I didn't realize that. We did mention Bichette, though. How likely is a reunion with him? And if so, would it be at shortstop, or do you see him at second?
I still think it makes too much sense for Bichette and the Blue Jays. Now, the best version of the Toronto Blue Jays is Bichette at second base and Andres Gimenez probably winning a Gold Glove at shortstop. That's an okay setup for them. I think it would work well. And if the money is right, I think Bo could be convinced to play second base. Now, he has said all along, this goes back to when he still had the long hair, back to before Vladdy signed his deal, that he wants to be with the Blue Jays long term. And he means that. Bo is not a guy who wastes words or wastes your time. When he talks, you listen to him. And Bichette does want to be here. Now, that's a tiebreaker. He's not going to take a discount. But I think for the Blue Jays right now, they need a big bat. That hole was created by Bichette. Why not fill it with Bichette, and then you can continue to add on top of that?
Yeah, it would be hard to break up that duo with him and Vladdy. They're both so synonymous with the Blue Jays, and now they're finally there, and they're trying to get back and finally win this thing. It'd be really hard to see him in another uniform. What are the chances of the Jays signing Kyle Tucker this offseason, Keegan?
He's a very Blue Jays player, isn't he? Now, I know he's a great player. He fits any team. I don't care who. But he does all of the things that the Blue Jays really nail, that they lean into as an offense. That contact rate, the ability to get on base with a bit of a power threat. He's everything the Blue Jays do. Now, I think this is a debate not just between Bichette and Tucker, but what you can get overall. It's not just Bichette versus Tucker. It's Bichette and the extra $100 million you probably have versus Tucker. The Blue Jays could still address that bullpen, could still address some depth or add another bat. I think that's awfully attractive at this point, but the Blue Jays do have an outfield need. George Springer has 1 year left. Anthony Santander is probably not a Gold Glover in the outfield going forward, more DH. So that does fit for the Blue Jays, and they can go both directions here.
Speaking of those needs, Ross Adkins and the Blue Jays front office are heading down to Orlando next week, probably to catch a little bit of sun, but more so to get some things done this offseason. What are their priorities going into these winter meetings?
I think the bullpen has to be a big one. Now, Bichette and Kyle Tucker, they'll dominate the big conversations, but Toronto still needs to address this bullpen here, and I think they're going to be in on major closers, like Yonder was talking about with Edwin Diaz at the top of the market. Looking a little further down, Ryan Helsley was one they were interested in, went elsewhere in the division, but I think the Blue Jays have that opportunity when the rest of your roster is really good. And when you have money, you have the ability to go out and spend. The bullpen is kind of that luxury that you can continue to tune up. The Blue Jays have depth, but I think from now on, they need to start to bolster the back end of that rotation around Jeff Hoffman or even on top of Jeff Hoffman. The Blue Jays are open to a closer, and that would be a real addition to this team, somewhere they can still improve.
You and Yonder very much so on the same page. Keegan, thank you for your time. By the way, we love the library in the background. Is there a must-read behind you that we all need to know about?
Ooh, I got to keep them fooled back here. I heard there was a great book written about the Blue Jays this year. I forget the author. It was called The Franchise, but got to keep them fooled. I've read 100% of them, I promise you.
Hey, we weren't calling you out on that, but we will be looking out for The Franchise. Keegan, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your offseason, my friend.
Thank you so much.